Hey, welcome in. I'm now going to be reviewing all of Thursday night's action from the NHL. There were 9 games on tap, therefore 18 teams were trying to get 2 points, but evidently, obviously, only 9 were able to do so. Starting with the teams that you see on your screen as the New York Islanders went into Montreal to take on the Canadiens. Now, the only reason this is hello, Cat, is because obviously Patrick Roy, being a former goalie for the Montreal Canadiens, is now coaching yet again in the NHL. This time he has taken over the reins as the Islanders head coach. So we'll take a look at the game recap from this particular match. In the first, Nick Suzuki would kick things off for the Habs, getting his 13th goal of the season, assisted by Slavkovsky and Sean Monahan, 7 minutes and 6 seconds into that frame. Cole Caulfield would double up the lead to 2-0, getting his 17th of the year, assisted by Nick Suzuki, and that goal happened 8 minutes and 24 seconds remaining in that frame. Sean Monahan would increase the lead to 3-0 with a power play goal of his own. Less than a minute after that, 7 minutes and 41 seconds to go, his 12th of the season, assisted by Matheson and Sam Montembeault. So after 20 minutes of play, it was 3-0 in favor of Montreal. In the second period, Bo Horvath would get a power play goal, getting the Islanders on the board, his 20th of the season, from Matt Barzal and Noah Dobson, 3 minutes and 2 seconds into that frame. In the third period, Matt Barzal would get a late power play goal with just 5 minutes and 8 seconds to go, cutting the deficit to 3-2, getting his 13th of the season from Dobson and Kyle Palmieri. Speaking of Palmieri, he would get a power play goal of his own with just 3.5 minutes to go, his 12th goal of the season from Dobson and Horvat. So that tied the game up at 3. Just over 2 minutes remaining, Sean Monahan will get the go-ahead goal and the game-winning goal, his 13th of the season, his second goal of the game, assisted by Josh Anderson and Cole Caulfield. And that goal happened with 2 minutes and 12 seconds remaining. So despite the fact that they blew a 3-0 lead, they were able to get the victory in the end. So with the win, Montreal's now snapped their 3 or 4 game losing streak. They're sitting at 20, 21, and 7. And I still think they're quite a ways back in the wild card spot. They are now currently sitting 8 points back of a wild card spot. So again, it would take a very big miracle for this team to jump up in the standings. As for the Islanders, despite the loss, they're 4 points back in the standings with a record of 20, 17, and 11. All right, the next game took place in Detroit. We had the Red Wings, and they are playing host to the Philadelphia Flyers. All right, take a look at the game recap from this game. No scoring in the second. All the goals happened. No scoring in the first, I apologize. All the goals happened in the second period. Dylan Larkin would kick things off a minute and 37 seconds into that middle frame, getting his 20th of the season, assisted by Lucas Raymond. Sider would increase the lead to 2-0, getting his 6th goal of the year, assisted by Lucas Raymond. Not late, I apologize. Just over halfway through that period, 9 minutes and 52 seconds to go, Andrew Copp would get a short-handed goal, his 9th of the season, from Rasmussen and Jeff Petrie. 3-0 at that point after 40 minutes of play, and 3-0 would be the final score in favor of the Red Wings. So they would finish the game with a shutout. With the win, they're now 25, 18, and 5. We'll take a look at where they are in the standings. They're currently in the second wildcard spot. They have a 4-point lead up on the Devils. And with the loss, the Philadelphia Flyers are still currently sitting in third place in their division with a record of 25, 18, and 6. All right, next matchup took place in Ottawa. We had the Senators, and they were playing host to the Boston Bruins. All right, we'll take a look and see how this matchup turned out. So in the first, David Pastrnak, seems like he scored almost every game, would kick things off for the Bruins late in the first period on a power play, just a minute 24 seconds remaining. His 31st of the season from Charlie McAvoy and Charlie Coyle. In the second period, Travis Frederick would increase the lead to 2-0, getting his 14th of the year from Zacha and Pastrnak 8 minutes and 19 seconds into that frame. Just when it looked like the Bruins were going to have a 2-0 cushion after 40 minutes, Chabot would get a late power play goal for the Senators with just 28 seconds to go, cutting the deficit to 2-1 at that point, his second of the season, assisted by Batherson and Tim Stützle. In the third period, Tarasenko would tie the game up with 3 minutes and 18 seconds to go, his 13th of the season from Chabot and Norris. So after the 60 minutes of play, we needed extra time, and in the extra frame, the captain, Brad Marchand, would get the game-winning goal, his 24th of the season from Charlie Coyle, a minute and 48 seconds in that extra frame. So with the victory, the Bruins are still atop of that Atlantic Division. I feel like I'm a broken record whenever I talk about the Bruins and still being on top of that Atlantic Division with a record of 39-9. And with the loss, the Senators are still last in the Atlantic and last in the Eastern Conference with a record of 18-24-2. All right, now we're off to Tampa Bay, where we have the Lightning, and they're playing host to the Arizona Coyotes. All right, take a look at this matchup. So in the first, Radish would kick things off just 24 seconds into that opening frame, recording his 4th goal of the season from Brandon Hagel and Anthony Cirelli. Keller would tie the game up 8 minutes and 40 seconds, getting his 20th of the season from Schmaltz and Josh Brown. Braden Point would give the Lightning a late 2-1 lead after 20 minutes, his 23rd of the season, assisted by Kucherov, and that goal happened with just 34 seconds remaining. In the second, Kucherov would increase the lead to 3-1, getting his 32nd goal of the season from Stamkos and Hedman in 7 minutes and 36 seconds. With just under 8 minutes to go, 7 minutes and 58 seconds to be exact, Stamkos would increase the lead to 4-1, getting his 20th goal of the year from Kucherov and Braden Point. Chaffee, if I'm pronouncing the name correctly, will get his first goal of the season for the Tampa Bay Lightning, increasing the lead to 5-1, assisted by Crozier and Martinson Liljegren, if I'm saying that one correctly. Oh, wow. With 4 minutes and 42 seconds to go, it was 5-1 for Tampa. With just about 3 minutes to go in the game, Durzi would cut the deficit to 5-2, getting his 8th of the season for McBain and Keller. So after 40 minutes of play, it was 5-2 in favor of Tampa. In the third period, Glendening would increase the lead to 6-2, getting his 8th goal of the season, assisted by Chaffee, Chaffe, making it 6-2 at that point. Kraus would cut the deficit in half to 6-3, with 8 minutes and 12 seconds to go, his 19th of the season, assisted by Logan Cooley. But unfortunately for the Coyotes, they were still 3 goals down at that point, and 6-3 would be the final score in this matchup. So with the victory, Tampa has now jumped back into 3rd place in the Atlantic Division with a record of 26-18-5. And with the loss, let's check and see where the Coyotes are. They're currently 4 points out of the playoff spot with a record of 23-21-3. All right, the next matchup took place in Carolina, where we have the Hurricanes, and they're playing host to the New Jersey Devils. All right, let's take a look at this matchup. So in the first, Sebastian Aho kicked things off just 1 minute and 30 seconds into the opening period, getting his 17th of the season, assisted by Teravainen and Slavin. In the second period, Teravainen will get a goal of his own, increasing the lead to 2-0 with a power play goal to note, assisted by Bunting, 2 minutes and 54 seconds into that frame. Less than 30 seconds after that, Jordan Staal would increase the lead to 3-0, getting his 6th goal of the year from Braden Shea and Seth Jarvis. In the third period, Dowling would finally get the New Jersey Devils on the board, getting his first goal of the season, assisted by Holtz and Tierney. Jesper Bratt would cut the deficit to 3-2, but unfortunately there was little time left as he scored with just 3 seconds remaining, his 18th of the season, assisted by Luke Hughes. So 3-2 would be the final score. With the victory, the Hurricanes are sitting in 2nd place in that Metropolitan Division with a 27-15-5 record. They're just 2 points behind the Rangers, and they're 3 points up on the Philadelphia Flyers. As for the New Jersey Devils, they are currently sitting just 4 points out of a playoff spot with a record of 24-19-3. All right, next game took place in Big D, where we have the Stars, and they're playing host to the Anaheim Ducks. All right, we'll take a look at the game recap from this one. In the first period, Matt Duchene would kick the scoring off, getting his 16th goal of the season from Marchman and Tyler Seguin, 2 minutes and 22 seconds into that frame. And with just under 5 minutes to go, 4 minutes and 50 seconds to be exact, Vakinen would tie the game up, assisted by Lundstrom and Jacob Silverberg. So after 20 minutes of play, we're all tied up at 1. In the second period, Terry would get his 12th goal of the season, giving the Ducks a 2-1 lead, assisted by Adam Henrique, 1 minute and 28 seconds into that frame. Craig Smith would tie the game up 6 minutes and 44 seconds in that middle frame. After 40 minutes of play, we were all tied at 2. In the third, Jacob Silverberg would give the Ducks a 3-2 lead just 12 seconds into that period, his 5th of the season, assisted by Lundstrom and McTavish. Heiskanen would tie the game up with 9.5 minutes to go, his 5th of the season from Harley and Dandonov. The game would require extra time in the overtime frame, and Harley would play the hero, getting the game-winning goal, his 10th of the season, assisted by Joe Pavelski. So after trailing 1-0, 2-1, 3-1, 3-2, the Stars were able to prevail and get the victory in the end. With the win, they are still sitting in third place in that Central Division with a record of 29, 13, and 6. They're just a point behind the Avalanche and Winnipeg Jets for first place in that division. As for the Ducks, after the loss, they're 16, 30, and 2. They're currently 19 points out of the playoff spot, so I have a funny feeling once the trade deadline comes, they will be sellers. All right, the next matchup took place in Minnesota. We had the Wild, and they played host to the Nashville Predators. All right, let's take a look at the game recap from this matchup. So there's no scoring in the first, just a lone goal in the second to report. Eriksson Ek would get a power play goal, his 21st of the season, with 7 minutes and 14 seconds to go, assisted by Kaprizov and Zuccarello. And the third, Carrier would tie the game up just 1 minute and 44 seconds into that frame, getting his 4th of the season, assisted by Trennan. Forsberg would increase the lead to 2-1 less than 30 seconds after that, just over 30 seconds after that, I apologize, getting his 23rd of the season, assisted by Yossi and Ryan O'Reilly. Speaking of Yossi, he would get a goal of his own, 9 minutes and 24 seconds remaining, his 10th of the season. Nyquist and Ryan O'Reilly make it 3-1 in favor of the Preds. Boldy would get a late power play goal with 3 minutes and 51 seconds to go, his 16th of the season from Faber and Kaprizov, but unfortunately for the Wild, they were not able to mount a comeback in this matchup. With the victory, Nashville is currently sitting in the second wildcard spot with a record of 26, 21, and 1. They currently have the same amount of points as the Kings, as those are the two teams that are in the Western wildcard spot as we speak. As for the Minnesota Wild, they are now 6 points back of that wildcard spot with a record of 21, 22, and 5. All right, only 2 more matchups to look at. The next one took place in Calgary. We have the Flames. They played host to the Columbus Blue Jackets. All right, let's take a look and see how this game turned out. In the first, Chenikov would kick things off for the Columbus Blue Jackets, getting his 12th of the season from Werenski and Sillinger. Uyghur would tie the game up 7 minutes and 26 seconds in that period, his 12th of the season from Majapani and Blake Coleman. Severson would give the Blue Jackets a 2-1 lead with just over 8 minutes to go, 7 minutes and 12 seconds to be exact. 8 minutes and 12 seconds to be exact. 6th of the season, Zari would tie the game up, 5 minutes and 18 seconds to go, his 10th of the year, assisted by Coronado and Rasmus Anderson. So after 20 minutes of play, both teams had 2 goals apiece. Texier would get a shorthanded goal in the second period, his 7th of the season from Corrali and Gudbranson, 6 minutes and 33 seconds in that middle frame. After 40 minutes of play, it was 3-2 in favor of the Blue Jackets. Vornikov would increase the lead to 4-2 with 6 minutes and 17 seconds to go, his 11th of the season from Fantilli and Severson. That would be a power play goal to note. And then Fantilli would increase the lead to 5-2, getting his 12th of the season, assisted by Chinikov, and that goal happened with 1 minute and 42 seconds remaining. So 5-2 would be the final score. So despite the fact that the Blue Jackets won, they're still currently in the bottom of that Eastern Conference, they have the worst record in the Metropolitan. They have the second worst record in the Eastern Conference altogether, with a record of 15, 23, and 9. They're 16 points back of a playoff spot. So just like the other team that I mentioned, I have a funny feeling the Blue Jackets will be sellers once the trade deadline comes around. Okay. And the last matchup from Thursday took place in Edmonton as the Oilers, who are currently on the very hot streak to say the least, took on the Chicago Blackhawks. So there's no scoring in the first. We have to jump ahead to the second. Just a minute, 37 seconds into that frame, Connor McDavid opened up the scoring, getting his 18th goal of the season from Nugent Hopkins and Draisaitl. A minute, 37 seconds into that middle frame. In the third, Zach Hyman would increase the lead to 2-0, getting his 29th of the season from McDavid and Draisaitl, and that goal happened 6 minutes and 34 seconds in that frame. McDavid would get an empty netter at the end of the game, assisted by Draisaitl, his second of the game, his 19th of the season, with just a minute and 15 seconds to go. And that's where we would stand at the end of regulation. 3-0 would be in favor of the Oilers. So with the victory, they're still climbing the standings and climbing with points. They have a record of 28, 15, and 1. They are currently on a 15-game winning streak. They're only 2 games away from tying the all-time record and potentially 3 games away from getting the all-time record when it comes to NHL wins consecutively. As for the Chicago Blackhawks, they're currently sitting last in the Western Conference with a record of 14, 33, and 2. All right, that takes care of my recap from Thursday night. As always, if you're new to this channel and you like this type of content, please feel free to hit the sub button. I'd be very grateful and very appreciative as well. And until next time, take care.